Welcome to Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. This is episode 29. As always, I'm Jack and I'm joined by Calvin and Charlie. How are we doing, lads? The hangover's not too bad for celebrating the 0-0, eh?
Mate, I've only just recovered. I was 14 crates of beer on Sunday after that famous 0-0 victory at Tynecastle, so the headache's just disappeared now, so doing all right, mate, apart from that.
I tell you something, it wasn't too long ago there was another team in Edinburgh that pitch invaded after scoring an equaliser at Easter Road. So,
and also released a beer in memory of said goal.
Yeah,
absolutely gives, man.
I'll look up in Robbie Nielsen's garage, eh? But didn't ask me if that happened. But we'll get the show on the road, and obviously we're starting off with Hibs women, an excellent 4-0 away win against the Well at Alliance Park on Sunday. So after the 0-0 win, draw
against who?
Against who, Jack?
Yeah, she's fine.
Against the Well, Motherwell.
She's all right, mate.
You bastard! Not this again. We can't have this every week. So anyway, against a certain team from Lanarkshire that plays in orange and claret, 4-0 win against them at Alliance Park. So I think a very, very good performance first of all, but to be expected. Motherwell aren't one of the top sides in the SWPL. They have improved. They have strengthened their squad, but we're still a class apart for them. And I think it was great to see, first of all, the first talking point, you can feel free to jump in on this, is the rotated squad. I think that shows our strength and depth. Certainly, we had a lot of chopping and changing, players getting taken out, players getting put in. And I think that's really good to see, because Dean's obviously experimenting, seeing what combinations work in the squad, and we can still get big wins, even with a rotated squad. So I think that's good that he's resting certain players up, because we've got a run of 3 very tough games coming up. Celtic, Hearts and Rangers all in a row. So 3 very big games. So it's good to see a bit of a rotated squad against Motherwell at the weekend there. So is there anything you'd want to say about that, boys, about the rotated squad?
On you go, Colin.
You go, mate.
All right. I was going to say I was surprised to see him rotate at second game in, but understand obviously why with the big 3 games coming up, like you said, Jack. To rotate the squad and still put 4 past them, that's a decent squad we've got, which we knew that going into this season anyway. So I was delighted to see that they scored 4, not as many as you thought, Jack, but it's all right. We'll save them for the Hertz in a few weeks' time, so that's all right.
Exactly.
I was just going to say as well, I think I'm obviously learning a lot more about the women's game as we're covering them each week and things like that. I'm really enjoying it, but I think, like you were saying, like the squad depth seems to be, really, really good. I'm really impressed with the striking department as well. I think there's a lot of goals in the team, and they're coming from all over as well, and it's good to get along and watch them. And I tell you what, we're going to go to the Edinburgh Derby, no this weekend, but next weekend, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
It's going to be
a heck of a show.
It's going to be definitely. Obviously, talking about the squad, it was great to see Shannon McGregor back in the squad on the bench. Obviously, she's had quite a tough time of it in the past year. There's been things going on off the pitch, and then she had quite a tragic loss within the family, which I'm sure you two will join me in saying that our thoughts are with her after that. And then she's also had her problems with injuries as well. So I think it's great to see Shannon back in the squad and getting back to that level where Dean feels she's match fit and can be put on the bench. So it's great to see Shannon McGregor back. And then just looking, jumping into the game after that. So like I said, it's nice to see you back, Shannon. Jumping into the game after that, obviously it took a wee while to get off the ground. It took a wee while to heat up, but then Rachel Boyle got our first goal, cross. And it was a beauty.
Aye. Good cross indeed.
Rachel Boyle. Good cross.
Martin say that on Twitter. He said that.
Martin,
it was a good
Martin
cross.
being a cheeky boy. I think Martin had to sleep on the couch that night.
Aye, probably. Like Rachel says to him, though, she should probably take notes.
Aye. Well, I think Rachel, was it intentional? Well, that's up for debate, but still very good that it found the back of the net. And obviously Rachel's in top form. She's just been called up to the Scotland squad to replace injured Caroline Weir. So what are your thoughts on that? I'll go to Calvin first. What are your thoughts on Rachel getting called up to Scotland?
I think it's superb. I think it's probably well deserved. The last couple of weeks we've been watching her, she's been playing really, really well. And I think she's been playing well for quite a number of years now as well, and she's definitely solidified herself in that squad. But I know she's been there for a short period of time. What is it, 4 or 5 years now? And, you know, you can tell a lot of the girls respect her and look up to her as well, and I think it's probably long overdue. And I think our man should be in the Scotland squad as well for the national team. But no, it's always good to see anyone related to Hibs in the national team, and it's good as well because it's definitely make me keep an eye out on the national team now. I know Joelle was in the squad and things like that before, but yeah, definitely keep an eye on that and see how that progresses. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Aye, no, that is good to see Rachel there, and obviously she's had a fantastic start to the season. She's the vice captain as well,
Exactly, so
she's got that sort of respect for the players, and obviously Dean feels that she's capable of that responsibility because Joelle, when she was suspended for the Kilmarnock game, Rachel had the armband for that, and Rachel really proved herself as captain, and she's been a great captain when Joelle's not been able to play. And then another one, sort of just before we talk about the game a bit more, is looking at our goalkeeper situation, which is really good and much better to the situation we had last season. Emily Much replacing Gabby English for that game. I think it's really good because Emily Much was on her own last season because we did have Sophie Allison, but she didn't really make the grade, if you like. I know that sounds a bit harsh, but we ended up loaning her out to Glasgow Girls, and then they made it permanent. So it's great to see us have two goalkeepers that are really good, both in their own ways, battling it out. And it was good to see Emily Much keep her first clean sheet. So I'll go to Charlie for that one. What did you think of us having two really good goalkeepers?
Aye, it's good, mate. It's nice that, you know, we've only conceded 2 competitive goals all season. You know, again, the 2 coming when we beat Dundee United 10-2. So, you know, the goalkeeping department for the women's team is a strong one. And it's nice to see that we can rotate it and be comfortable with the keeper that's coming in. So, aye, long may that continue in my books.
It's Absolutely. Good that the depth of the goalkeeper is good as well, because it's quite a surprise to see, you know, Gabby on the bench, to be honest with you, because from what I've seen, she's been a standout so far, like really, really good. And it's good as well, though, that the Strongs that squad, that they can rotate it, because then it'll, you know, if everyone's getting a game, they're more inclined to stay. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it brings a sort of good sense of community in and around the team and things like that. So no, I'm all for it as well. I think it's really good, mate.
I think both Gabby and Emily sort of proved their life after Jenna Fife. Because obviously, if you've been following the women's team for a long time, you'll know about Jenna Fife. She used to be one of the best goalkeepers in Scotland. And when she got let go, or when she went to Rangers, I definitely thought, you know, we're going to have a problem replacing her, a bit like, suppose, Rocky and Matt Macey. But I definitely think both Emily and Gabby, Emily more so, have really stepped up to the plate. I think Emily much got brought in as a backup to Sophie Allison and ended up taking over as the first choice goalkeeper. I think Gabby English, like Calvin was saying, is really fantastic. She's a great goalkeeper. So it's great to see us have that depth in that position, and just talk about the depth in the squad in general. And obviously, going over to the match again, Carla Boyce opening her account for the season. It's great to see again. We keep talking about depth, but you know, that shows our attacking threat and the wealth of attacking threat we have. That Carla Boyce coming in, she's obviously taken a wee bit of a step back for Ailey Adams and Alexa Coyle. It's great to see Carla getting onto the pitch, getting some minutes and scoring as well. So I'll let you field this one, Calvin. What do you think, seeing Carla get on and score, and knowing that we've got, you know, Ailey, Alexa and Carla all in that position?
Well, I said earlier, I mean, the striking department's a good one. I mean, 20 goals in, you know, 2 games, a couple games ago was good. And I think this week I was kind of surprised because I was following along on the Twitter and I thought, have they not scored yet? Because they scored early quite often. And no, it's a very strong position, and it's almost too strong a position, I would say, where I feel like Alexa and I was really impressed with Gallagher when we went along at the Stirling Uni game. I thought she was superb. Alexa's more like a fox in the box, like, you know, really, really can just get on the end of something, but she can also make things happen out of nothing. Like, she gets a pass and she'll turn 1 or 2 players and go on. Like, she's always got that like American vibe around her as well, like very positive, like all the time. And yeah, it was funny. I was watching an interview with you and she referred to herself as a Hib instead of a Hibs. She said, "Yeah, I'm a Hib now," and I was like,
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The American.
The Americans are quite good, yeah. But no, I think it's a very strong department, and I almost wonder if it's too strong, because hopefully they can rotate them all and get them all game time. But no, it's very impressive, I must say.
It is difficult. I do agree with you that sometimes like you can be too strong. And that department, also Ailey Adams, she's still young. She's going to want the first team opportunities at her age. So you don't know if you lose Ailey Adams, and then you've got Addie Hanley's just left. We don't know where she's went, but Addie Hanley's just left to search more first team opportunities because we've got that much. But I still think it's really good, and you've got the different types of player, like you were saying, and then I think the two ex-Motherwell players that we've got in the squad, Katie Rice and Erin Rennie, got minutes against their old team as well. I thought they were both really good. But I think, we talk about the game sort of taking a wee while to heat up. I do think it's because Motherwell are quite solid at the back, and they did sit in for quite a wee while, and then eventually you just broke them. And then, Kirsty Morrison and Amy Muir got another goals. I want to talk about Amy Muir first. Amy Muir's been really, really good, and you don't expect a fullback to score that many goals, but she has been really good for us. Ever since we got her in from Rangers a few seasons ago, she's been really, really good and has developed into one of the best fullbacks in Scotland, I'd argue. So I'll let Charlie speak about this one. What have you thought of Amy Muir so far this season? She's had a really impressive start and has certainly been a standout for me, as she has been in previous seasons.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, I've not been in person to watch them yet, but obviously that'll change in a few weeks when we go to the derby. But from what I've seen, like watching the highlights on BBC every week, she seems like she's definitely one of the standout players on that team. And is it left back she plays, Jack?
Yeah.
Aye. So it reminds me a wee bit of like Josh Doig, almost like came out of nowhere and has made that position her own. And is just really staking a claim for one of the better players in the team. So I am really, really impressed with what I've seen of her so far.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's funny enough, she's like Josh Doig, but it must be something about being blonde makes you a good left back. But no, I do think that Amy's been fantastic. Yeah, really great performance. That's us top of the league. We are top of the league. Say we are top of the league.
Wait, Jack, wait. Is that us? Are we morally top or are we actually top?
Well, I don't know, because we've only played Spartans Motherwell away, so Glasgow. Well, Glasgow have morally dropped points. Glasgow have morally dropped points, and so have Rangers and Celtic. They've morally dropped points as well. So, two wins out of two. Scored 7 and conceded 0 in the league. And I think going into the game against Celtic, I do think that's the real acid test for the squad, because Celtic are really impressive. Obviously, they came second and gave Glasgow a really good run for their money in the title race last season. So that is going to be a big acid test for the squad, because that Celtic side will not show any mercy. You can't make mistakes against, not that we will, we can't make mistakes against that Celtic team. And it's going to be a big test, but I know it's a test that the girls will be up for. And no one will take head on. So obviously that's away against Celtic next week. But I really think we've started the season brightly. And I said it last week, but we have the ability to be up there challenging it. And why not? Why can we no do the treble this season? Why can't we win
I think we can.
Cup? Why don't we win the Scottish Cup? Why don't we win the league? I think we're really capable of it, or at least in the league getting that second spot and getting Champions League football. We're more than capable of that. But we've got the squad. So I think before we move on, I've got to say, we'll sum it up in one word. I'm going to say superb. Calvin?
Top.
Charlie?
Or first?
Smashed. As in they smashed them, eh? Come on, the Hibs.
That's good. So well done to the girls. Another fantastic performance, and we look forward to coming along to the derby, and good luck against Celtic away next week, because that's a big game. Hopefully we can take a few points off of Celtic. If we can't get the win, at least get a draw and show that we're going in the right direction, because we did struggle against the Old Firm last season and the Glasgow City. So hopefully we can get the good result against Celtic there, because it's going to be a tough one. So moving on to the derby, I think, well, where do we start? First of all, I think there's only one place to start, and that is Matt Macey. Fantastic performance out the big man. And I think we're talking about goalkeepers, and we're talking about life after goalkeepers. Well, I think Macey, I'm stealing this for the Edinburgh Evening News, so sorry, Pat, I'm stealing your line here, but there is life after Marciano. I think Macey put in a really good performance. And if you want to endear yourself to the fans, then saving our bacon quite a few times in an Edinburgh derby is the way to do it. So I'll go to Charlie first. What did you think of Macey's performance at Swine Castle on Sunday?
It was a surprise that he was that good, to be honest. With how many times have we seen it? Goalkeepers playing well, then they go to Tynecastle and they have an absolute calamity. So I was delighted. He saved when who was it that had it? The boy that put it really low. I thought it was going in. Mackay Stephen, maybe. I can't mind. I didn't really pay too much attention to the game. I was watching it through my fingers for the most part. But a few cracking saves and commanded his box, which I feel like we're a bit of a broken record when we talk about Macey. But he commands his box excellently. And that's something that we've not really seen for a while, a keeper. So over the moon with his performance, and hopefully is the kickstarter for him having a good season. And I really do think that he is as good as Marciano already, maybe better.
Yeah, definite. So before I go to Calvin, I've just got to say, I think he's got some of the qualities that Marciano didn't have, that you would look for in a goalkeeper. He offers something different. And we're still going to debate about how tall he is as well. So is it 6'7", is it 6'8"? It seems to go up every time. So Calvin, what did you think of Macey's performance?
I think I said it a couple of months ago in the podcast when Rocky left. I said, Rocky Marciano, Christ, Ophir Marciano was the first goalie in a long time at Easter Road. But he's the best goalie I've ever seen at Easter Road in terms of longevity. But first time in a long time that I'd ever seen a goalkeeper at the end, come the end of the season, you could say, he actually single-handedly won us at least 12 points, 10, 12 points with some of the performances he pulled off. And I think it's the same with Macey at the weekend there. I think we'll look back and we'll think, well, because let's be honest, that was a much better result for us than it was for them.
Oh, aye.
First Edinburgh derby, it's in your own backyard and all the fans are back. Do you know what I mean? It was definitely, like I said last week, I thought going into it, they had to be the favourites, purely based on that. And that's an intimidating place to go. Do you know what I mean? And I think in terms of being able to put on that type of performance, just showed the qualities he had, and it probably shows the qualities as to why he was hanging about at Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? Not to laugh at Arsenal, because Arsenal are obviously still a very, very good team, but it shows you can definitely see what they've seen in him. And like I said, I do think we'll look back and this will definitely be able to put this down to, I'm not going to say, I didn't want to be too critical on us, because I think definitely we could have took all 3 points. But then again, I think with some of the saves he pulled off, we could quite easily have lost points or took a draw. So I definitely think he's definitely kept us up the top end of the table in the right position, because I think if we'd lost that derby, I think a lot of folk, I think they would have been calling for Ross's head, and that maybe went in the Swanee a wee bit. So no, I think he's definitely more than played his part this week.
Definitely. No, I completely agree with that. I think in terms of the performance, I just think, it was a game of two halves, and Hearts, we started quite brightly, then Hearts got their way into that, and then the second half was basically the same, until Hearts made their substitutions. Robbie Neilson made one of his ingenious tactical decisions where they started sitting a bit too deep again, and then we sort of came onto them a bit, and then we started sitting too deep. So I just think, it was typical Robbie Neilson football at times for them. At the same time with us, it was our typical how we can be a wee bit too negative sometimes. But, and on the point, I think it's good you brought that up. I definitely think it's a better point for us than it is for them. Because
100%.
They come up, they're at home. Now, bearing in mind, they've not got a good record at us at that dump, at the big maroon bus stop. They've not got a good record against us there.
It's pink, it's no maroon.
It's bus
shelter. With the staircase to nowhere as well.
No, they've not fixed that, mate.
They've been nicking the poppy tins as well. I didn't see any of them about. Right, that's enough of that. Anyway, I'll get shot. But I think the point is, I've distracted myself now. But anyway, the point is about it that, I think it was in their backyard, first derby with fans back, first derby back in the Premiership for them. It was a bigger occasion for them than it was for us. And we got the point. And I think I'll take that, because we're still unbeaten there in quite a few games. And it used to be Tynecastle used to be a ground that we went to and you used to dread going, but now I think it's like, well, we're guaranteed at least a point for here now. And I think that is
that confident.
Well, yes, but that's maybe just the drink for the celebration club, but no, but I definitely think that it was a good. I think it was a decent performance from us, and I'll take it. Now, the next talking point for the derby, for me, is Robbie Nielsen. Robbie Nielsen's comments. Now, I'm going to start on this one and say I don't think he's in any place to make comments like that, especially after certain events at Dundee United. And
what were his comments? Just for some folk who haven't heard them.
So obviously, I think it was Edinburgh.
Like myself.
The Hibs fans going to celebrate. The Hibs players celebrating with their fans, celebrating a 0-0 draw. It shows the difference in mentality. Now, like I said, Robbie Nielsen was literally going mental because they got to 0-0 against a 10-man team, and then they lost in a penalty shootout. And then what was it when he bottled a 2-0 lead at home? It was a money spinning replay. Well, they lost that and all. So I don't think Robbie Nielsen's in the place to make those comments. And I just think managers really shouldn't be mudslinging like that. Leave it to the fans. You shouldn't, or leave it to the players. Managers have got to keep a degree of professionalism in that sort of situation. I just think those comments are really petty. I think maybe he's upset that the Jambos all sort of rushed for the exits at the end, whilst our players came, come out and doing that to the fans to say thank you for paying a pretty penny to come and watch them at an away ground. That's no celebrating. That's called doing the right thing and showing a wee bit of appreciation. But I think Robbie Nielsen's comments were just unnecessary. I think a bit petty as well, if I'm being honest. So I'll come to Charlie first. What did you think of Robbie Nielsen's comments?
He just talks a power of shite, doesn't he? Like, you're right, Jack. That was the two things I was going to say. Like, the funniest one was that money spinning replay one. It's a money spinning replay you got pumped in. And then, like, but then did Robbie Nielsen no run on the pitch when Ozturk scored that goal to celebrate? Or like, he was very, very close to doing it with his technical staff. So, like, he celebrated a draw. I know it was a different circumstance when it was 1-1, but they celebrated a draw at Easter Road. They released a beer named, I can't remember what it was called, but it was after Ozturk's goal. And like, what do you want us to do? Like, walk off the pitch and no acknowledge the fans? Of course the players want to acknowledge the fans. It'd be the same. It'd be the same if they got a 0-0 at Easter Road. They'd be celebrating. Aye, and I saw some fans some Hearts fans saying Hibs done a lap of honour. I didn't think that they get told what a lap of honour is in their schools in Gorgie. Like, I didn't think education's made it that
They've
far.
Never done a lap of honour.
Aye, Hearts have like what? I'm just confused by the comments. Say like they're a bit petty, and it's exactly what you expect for them.
Exactly.
And it was just funny. Like, it was like hot air was just coming out of his mouth and nothing of importance was coming out.
He was throwing his toys at the pram as well, to be honest. But I think it's different types of Hearts fans that make comments like that, because I did see a few. There's a few that I know that are friends of mine and other Hearts accounts that I saw saying, actually sticking up for us and saying the players did what any other team would do. So it is different types of Hearts fans. I'm not going to tar them all with the same brush, because there is a few sensible ones. Just unfortunate.
Just do it, Jack. They're all Hearts bastards.
I'm not. I've got my uncle Roy's a Jambo, so I'm not going to say too much about it. That I definitely think it's like, unfortunately, it's a bit like Rangers, where the idiots always sort of outweigh the sensible folk, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. But I just think that, like, petty, underhand comments and. Yeah, no needing it at all. But the next, we'll move away from that because we didn't want.
I'll have to just jump in there.
Oh, get Calvin. Sorry, I forgot about you, Calvin.
I can, but no, I would say I couldn't. I find it hard to bring myself to say a bad word about Robbie Nielsen, because that man helped Hibs win the cup.
That's very true.
That's true.
Thank
you, Robbie.
That man gave us some of the best days of our life. Not only one with the 2-2 draw, but the replay as well. So the man's a hero in my eyes, and
definitely.
I absolutely adore him. So thank you very much, Robbie. And,
thank you, Robbie.
Dry your eyes, mate.
I think the final word on that for me is just grow up, Robbie.
Get it up, yeah.
Get it, Rudy.
Because Craig Levine, even Craig Levine wasn't that pathetic.
Aye,
and he'd made that stupid Recast.
Do you mind Craig?
No, it's a laugh, eh?
Do you mind Craig Levine said that in natural order? The next derby we pumped them 2-0 Easter Road. Get it up, yay!
So anyway, we'll move on, and the last talking point for the derby is obviously Jack Ross's substitutions. And I actually thought, to be fair, I know Gogic has not endeared himself to people, but I thought he actually did quite a good job when he came on. I know we shouldn't have been playing a deep lying player when you're sort of chasing a game, but at the same time, he provided that solidity, because I thought we were beginning to get overrun in midfield a bit towards the end there as well. So I think it was the right call. But I do want to see more of Scotty Allen. But I saw in one of the Facebook groups, somebody made a very good point. That said, Scotty, because of his health problems, never going to be at full fitness. So maybe Jack Ross is protecting him. But I think Gogic was the right call in the end, because we're beginning to get overrun in midfield. And I know it's not what you want to do when you're 0-0 and you want to be chasing a game. You want to be really going for the win. But when you're getting overrun in midfield, because you don't want to get overrun in midfield, you lose the ball in midfield, you've lost half the battle straight away. So I'll come to Colin first. What did you think of Jack Ross's substitutions in the derby, and was there anything you would have done any better?
Yeah, I try not to be negative about the team in general, because obviously there's no, well, you're entitled to your opinion in that, but I try and tend to look at things in a positive light, and I do think that when he brought Gogic on, I thought he's obviously happy with a 0-0 draw here, and I can see why. A point away to Tynecastle was a good result in terms of the circumstances, i.e., first derby, they're all back, they've got 3 full stands, we've got 1 full stand, they're at home, the advantages to them. So coming away with a 0-0, a point, still undefeated, you can't grumble. However, I do remember a couple chances falling to Gogic on the edge of the box that he chested down and he had a shot, and he almost scored both of them. But I did have flashbacks to the game at Easter Road, must have been the 2-0 game when McLaren scored. Ball bounces, comes to the edge of the box, Scotty Allen takes it down on his chest, boom, right in the back of the net. I did have flashes of that, and I just wondered, had he been included there instead, could we won that? And it's a difficult argument, because you're right, we don't know Scott Allen's health and what it's like. But at the same time, I mean, he went away and he played for Inverness, and he played every game 90 minutes for Inverness. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is going on? Can he not do 10 minutes? If he can't do 10 minutes, then he shouldn't be on the bench. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult one, because for me, Scott Allen is one of the best players we've got on his day.
Absolutely.
I mean, without a doubt, a shadow in my mind, he's absolutely brilliant. The passes he can see that nobody else is seeing, and unlocks the defences, and that is, just what we need. And Hearts didn't like it when teams get the ball down and they pass and they play a bit of football, Too often Hibs go to Tynecastle and they play the long ball, the hoofball. And I say that to my mates all the time. My mates say, Hibs are horrendous, man, the way they play in that. And I say, no. I say, honestly, go watch us play the other 10 teams in the league. We get the ball down and we pass it wide, we pass it inside, we make chances. We actually play really like free-flowing, attacking, attractive football. The minute we play Hearts, it's get to handling, or one of the right left backs, there's a long diagonal up the field, and I don't know why they do it. There's always to like a 5-foot striker who's playing up against 2 6-foot, 7-foot centre backs, and it's crazy, man. But no, I think Scott Allen, in terms of a sub, I'd like to have seen him introduced, because I think I watched it. For me, it was the first derby I didn't watch. I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. I just felt so sick in the morning. I was so worried about it, and no being there as well was just really hard. I find them really hard to watch on the telly. So I sort of took the dog out for a walk and just tried to let time pass and no get as nervous about it. And I came back and I watched the last 20 minutes, and I thought Hibs looked the better team. Far more opportunities, like Nisbet's chance that flashed past the post was like twisting volley. It was volley with the back to goal. That was superb, man. That had went in, that would have been one of the derby goals ever, best ever.
But no, I agree with everything you just said there. But I definitely think, you've always got to look at a manager has got to think along the lines of what will please the fans and what's tactically, what's tactically more sensible. And unfortunately, as a manager, he's got to look at it like what's the tactically more sensible decision. And I think in that situation, like I said, we begin to get overrun a bit in midfield, we begin to struggle to deal with them in midfield a bit. So I think Gogic was the right call, but I would have wanted to see Allen, because he would have scored. He could have scored a goal. He could have won us that game. But It is what it is. You know, you want to win games, but I'll take it. So I'll get Charlie's thoughts on that. What did you think of the substitutions, and would you have done any differently?
I want to touch on, before I touch on the subs, I want to touch on James Scott a wee bit quickly. I want to say that was comfortably the worst performance I've seen for James Scott in a Hibs top. And I'm not being negative about him in the slightest, but I don't think that was the game for James Scott to play.
Not at all.
You know, it's a hard one because I do rate James Scott. I really, really do rate him. But it's at Tynecastle, he's not going to... You can't, like, I think he's the type of player that's a bit slower in his approach to the game. And you can't be like that at Tynecastle. You need to be fast. But, I mean, obviously that's the biggest game he's played for Hibs. And he got taken off at half-time. So, obviously, Jack Ross wanted to change it. Going to the sub, originally I was like, why is he not bringing Scott Allen on? Because you remember the derby a couple of years ago at Christmas time, Scott Allen set Boyle up twice. Or the first one at least. I can't mind who set the second one.
It was both.
But like, that's the type of player that Scott Allen is, and he's shown it in derbies. But Gogic, you're right, Jack. We were getting overrun in the midfield going into half time, and then I think Gogic solidified it, and he almost scored a couple of chances, like you mentioned, Calvin. But with 10 minutes to go and we're still 0-0, I would have thrown Scott Allen on personally. I would have taken off. I can't even remember who played midfield. Who was in centre mid with Gogic? I would have kept McGuinness on because he had a brilliant game. But you can sacrifice somebody to bring Scott Allen on, eh?
Aye, 100%.
Like you can sacrifice. Dre Wright came on before Scott Allen came on. That's it. Like Scott Allen should be on before Dre Wright. But
definitely, I agree.
That's the type of substitution that we should be looking at and be like, Scott Allen's better than Dre Wright, so he should be on. But
definitely,
it was a frustrating sub at the time, but now having watched the second half, and I understand why he brought him on. Gogic played well. I don't think he had a bad half. But it's I don't think Scott Allen's got a future at Hibs, to be honest with you. I think he'll be away in January. He was almost away a few weeks ago when we tried to get McGrath.
Exactly.
So I think
it's a catch-22. Like, I'll just jump in with this point, John. I think it's kind of a catch-22 because see if you put Scott Allen on, right, we're getting overrun in the midfield a wee bit, right? But when we get the ball down and play, like we're a better team than Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%.
Every day of the week, right? I've never seen Hibs and Hearts both get the ball down on the deck, pass it, and Hibs be the worst team. Never ever seen it, right? But I feel like had they brought Scott Allen on last 10, 15 minutes, right, and we go out more attacking, so we're going for it, and we're actively trying to win the game, and we lose a goal at the other end, and we lose having tried to actually go out and win the game, rather than bringing Gogic on and seeing a 0-0, like, it's a catch-22 for him, because I think the fans have got to be unhappy, by the way, do you know what I mean? Like, what if fans will say, oh, I should have done, like we're saying, Ken, you're saying, I'd have brought Scott Allen on and waiting for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens if you do that and you do lose it, or if you bring Gogic on and you get a 0-0 draw? Like it's
it's a tough one, mate. It's a tough one, but I think it's a good point.
Aye, definitely. So that's the derby. So we're still morally above them in the league. So there we go. So moving on very quickly, there we St Mirren preview. So, or when I say St Mirren, what I really mean is Paisley Hibernian. But so we're taking on our development squad at Easter Road. So we're second place. They're 10th. We are unbeaten. They're still yet to pick up a win, which means congratulations on your victory, St Mirren. I'm kidding. I think if I was Jim Goodwin, I'd deliberately make them all play terribly so that we didn't get interested in them.
Aye.
So I think we'll quickly run through this, and I'll give my thoughts first. I think it's a game that, considering our home form so far against these sorts of teams, look at us what we've done to Ross County and Livy. It's a game we should be comfortably winning. I think we've got the ability. I'd love to see JDH and McGuinness do St Mirren and just to make them cry a wee bit. But I definitely think we're going to get a confident result. because St Mirren haven't been all that great so far this season. You've seen the odd wee flashes at them, but they've not been anything special. So I definitely think we'll get a confident result. My starting 11, I think I would stick with a 4-2-3-1. I like that for this game. I think if you've got, so I'd start off with Nisbet, playing through the middle, that up top striker. That's fine. I think Nisbet would really, cause St Mirren a lot of problems. Then out wide, I'm not really too sure what I'd do. I think it's the sort of game that Mackay deserves a wee run out in. I definitely would like to see Mackay play and Boyle, and then just the sort of midfield. I would like to see Scotty Allen get a start, to be honest, in that sort of attacking midfield position. And then obviously our sort of usual midfield, apart from that, JDH is your sort of like box-to-box midfielder. And at the back, I just think go with our usual back line. Although I would like to see Wood start. I know a lot of people say, about handling poaches. I'd drop one of them and give Wood a start because I think he'd be really good in that sort of game. And it's good to it's a good way to sort of ease them in to Scottish football, if you like. Because St Mirren are one of those sides that St Mirren can be very physical at times. So I think it'd be good for Wood to sort of get to grips with playing a team like St Mirren. So I would like to see Wood play, or even like him come off the bench. And then I'm going to go with my score prediction. I'm going to say 2-0 Hibs. And I'm going to say Nisbet and Boyle are our scorers in that game. So same as the Livy game. I think it's going to be 2-0. Very similar pattern to the Livy game. And Nisbet Boyle will get the goals. And just before I sort of go into your thoughts, the new screens will be getting a run out in that game as well. I think they're really, really smart. It's great that we're sort of modernising Easter Road, that we've got that facility, because the scoreboard in the South Stand's nowhere near good enough. I don't think. It's really hard to see, and it's really like old-fashioned as well. So it's great to have the screens. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're showing on them. But I'll get Calvin's thoughts first. What do you expect of us in that St Mirren game and what do you think of the screens?
Well, just firstly about the screens, the best bit about the old scoreboard is it comes on and it'll say like Hibs 1, Rangers 0 or whatever, and then it takes it away like that, and then it comes back with the next team. And then you're sitting there like saying it'll maybe come up Aberdeen and you're like 1, 1, 1, 1, and your mate's like 2, 2, 2, 2, and it's 0, and you're like, and then it's the next team below it comes and you're trying to guess what the score is. Like, I'll miss that. That was good. I used to fill up my half time. So we used to do that. That was before you could really get like 3G on the phone and all that. We used to do that at half time, me and my cousins and that and whatever. So I missed that. But no, hopefully, I was thinking about this today. I wonder if they'll put the GIFs up on the scoreboard. And the Twitter GIFs where it's like Boyle with top up and that, because if we're filming doing that would be brilliant. And it would be nice to get some like tweet the Hibs where you are at the stadium and that, and you and your pal can get a selfie and send it into Hibs at Twitter at Hibs or whatever, and then they could put it on the screen and that would be pretty cool. I'd like that. I think there's quite a lot you could do with that, rather than just might be quite similar to the Hampden one. It comes up with the starting lineup at the start, and pretty cool. Like, I'd like that a lot. It'll be the end of the round. It'll be new scoreboard that used to on the first picture. It'll be like St Mirren 5, Hibs 1 or something like that. You can just see it. But no, I think the St Mirren game will be a real test. I think it'll be a real test to see, like, not a predictor how the season will go, but every game's a tough game. And I think what we were really good at last year was beating these teams like this around us, like beating St Mirren's and Kilmarnocks and I'm not going to say St Johnstone's, but Livingston's, and we were really good at beating these types of teams around us. And I think to finish third and try and finish high up the table, I think that's what you need to do. So I'm hopeful for a Hibs win. I think again, I think probably 2. No, I'll go 3-0. I don't want to be going the same as you. 3-0. I'll go Boyle, Nisbet, and I'll get Scott to get on the score sheet as well. We'll go with that. Looking forward to being back. What about yourselves?
Well, I've 2-0 Boyle and Nisbet, same as the Livy game. So we'll go with the big man. Charlie, what are you thinking for the St Mirren game, and what are you thinking for the big screens?
I'm excited about the big screens, to be honest. That's something that I've wanted at Easter Road for a while, so it's nice to see that they're there, and hopefully the other two corners can get filled in with screens as well, But like, you do wonder though, like when away fans come, if they're going to rattle stuff at those screens.
They'll get charged for it, mate. So.
Aye, that's what I'm thinking. I wonder who the first player to be smack a screen. Paul Hanlon, I bet you with a big clearance or something, I'll smack one of the screens and I'll be fucked. But no, I'm excited. I really am excited to see them. I think it shows you how much faith Ron Gordon's got in this club to spend that money on new screens for the stadium, and that was one of his big plans coming in, to make it more modernised stadium. And you know, it actually makes the stadium feel a bit fuller with the screens around the sides, and it makes it a more 21st century stadium. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
In terms of the game, I think Hibs will win comfortably. I think 3-1 Hibs. I think Boyle will score twice, and I think James Scott will score. I'm going to predict he's going to score every week till he does. So hopefully he scores before he leaves. But I think 3-1 Hibs. Just think it'll be calm as you like. I don't think St Mirren will cause us too many problems. You know, they went to Celtic Park and Celtic put 6 past them. So I confident we'll get the job done, and we'll come here still unbeaten, and hopefully Hertz get beat this weekend, and we can actually be morally above them in the league rather than just what they're thinking they are. So really excited for the game. Be nice. My dad bought a season ticket after the Liver game, so it'll be nice to be in our seats together. So it'll be good.
Good, is he next to you, is he?
Aye, right next to me and Jack. So
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Your folks shouting
abuse. I can't believe he's bumped me on the other side of the stadium.
If you see the poll list going up to a certain row, that'll be to kick a lot of us out.
And that'll be after St Mirren go 3-0 up and I go Raj again, and then I'll be that out.
That's Charlie ripping up seats.
Launch it at the fucking screen. Take that run, you're con.
They're throwing them at the dugouts. Nah, but there's less of that. We didn't want to gear away our plans. So, well, that's St Mirren. I think, like I said, a game we should win comfortably. So, like I said, congratulations, St Mirren, on your win after I've said that. But moving on we'll finish up on the kit numbers, because we didn't actually have any listener questions
we never
this
put
week.
A tweet out. We've been so busy this week, mate.
Yeah, we've all three of us been real busy because we're all back to work and college and everything like that. But so moving on to the kit numbers this week. So it's number 29, could we say, in Germany, 29. So your choices this week are Stephen Notman, Stephen Fletcher, Dermot McCaffrey, Umar Kunde, Damian Gray, Curtis Byrne, Ross Caldwell, Frank DJ, Chris Dagnall, Brian Graham, Ryan Shanley, or Stephen Bradley. So I'm going to go first, and I've got to go with Fletcher. I've got to go with Fletcher because, I mean, come on, he was quality for us, especially in the season we won the CIS Cup. He's such a quality player, and I just think he summed up that team. And of course, that's one of my earliest memories at Hibs, is that CIS Cup winning team. Because obviously I'm 18, so I couldn't really remember Mowbray's team that well. So to be fair, that's like my first proper memory of a Hibs team. And I think Fletcher was just fantastic that season, and he really was such a key part of that cup winning team. And I just loved him as a player. And obviously he went down south and he's had a okay-ish career down there, but I think he was brilliant for us that season. And him and all those players in that team were just such a good reminder of what we were back then and how much of a quality team we could be when we played our stuff. And I think Fletcher was brilliant. And then I'll go to Charlie first. Who's your choice for the number 29?
Purely based on the fact he scored a winner at Tynecastle, it's going to be Ross Caldwell. I think, it was my first game at Tynecastle, like I've mentioned before, and he scored the winner. So, there we are, Ross Caldwell for me. But you're right, Jack. Fletcher, I think it was about 2004 when he wore 29, and that was when he was breaking into the team, and you could tell from an early age he was going to be a good player. So, if I was illegally to have a second one, I'd pick Stephen Fletcher, but Ross Caldwell for me.
Definitely.
I've got to go with you two as well. I'd probably say Caldwell. Just because I think Fletcher was a better number 9. For me, Caldwell, obviously the Derby winner, he stepped up a wee bit that season as well. There's a few times he had to. There's a few times that it was Griffiths was out for a period of time. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and he stepped up, and he filled in the boots pretty well. And I liked him. I like Big Ross Caldwell, but he just seemed to be like another one of the Hibs players that had like fantastic talent, but was just a bit of a heat case as well. So for me, unfortunately, I do think I'd have to say him.
Definite. I think there was a few good choices there. I didn't go with Calder because I just think it was a bit cliched, the last minute winner in that, and I thought I'd be a bit different. I did like Fletcher. I know he was a better number 9, but like I said, it's just that Hibs team's the earliest Hibs team I can properly remember. So I think that's us. That's us for this week, episode 29. I think it was a good one, talking about our 0-0 win at Tynecastle was excellent. And obviously a good look at the girls. I'm never gonna stop milking that, by the way, because all the Jambo relatives I have. But no, I think a brilliant 4-0 win for the girls against Motherwell as well. And of course, we'll be at the Women's Edinburgh Derby on the 29th. So really excited for that. It's going to be a great game, and hopefully we'll give the Hearts a good seeing test. So thank you for listening, folks. And that's it for us.